JLC7NADINES or visit our website at jlcenterprise-homeagain2.com.
It was 2 a.m. when the fire alarm woke me and my husband. Next thing I know, I was standing in my front yard watching my home go up in flames. That's when a friend of mine introduced me to the Masters Construction.
No one desires the tragedy of a house fire. But should this happen to you, we hope that you will choose the Masters Construction. Call us at 443-250-5048 or visit us at www.themasters-construction.com.
At every step, he took the time to explain what was next. Call the Masters today, 443-250-5048.
Insurance Guru Show, where we talk about all things insurance. My name is Ramona Jones McClain, and I'm a farmer's agent at 6 Hanover Road, Reisterstown, Maryland. You can call me anytime at 443-660-7131.
You're live in 3, 2, 1, whenever you're ready.
Hello, DMV. This is Ramona Jones McClain, and I am your insurance guru, and we are coming to you live from 11707 Reisterstown Road in Reisterstown, Maryland. And here's where we talk about all things insurance. Today, as promised, we are talking about open enrollment and medical insurance. Medical insurance is a topic that for the last 10 to 15 years, nobody wants to talk about and everybody wants to have it. If in fact you don't have medical insurance, and I tell everybody, there is no excuse in the state of Maryland for you not to have it, especially right now during open enrollment. There are a lot of reasons why people wait. There are a lot of reasons why open enrollment is important. And I'm going to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Sam Liner from the Liner Health Group. He is a health insurance consultant, and he helps you make the right choice on what type of health insurance you need, what is affordable for your budget, and what are the changes that are happening. Because every time we come up on an election year, there's always changes going on in the healthcare industry, especially post-COVID. And that's really, really important. Sam, tell us about yourself.
Well, Miss Ramona, I have been in insurance for just a little bit. I actually just joined up with where I'm at right now. I was able to kind of become an independent agent in later June. And so I've just been kind of getting some things rolling with that. And I've just been doing a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of learning just about all the newer stuff that's coming out. And just the ins and outs of health insurance so that I'm able to, help everybody that I can.
All right. And if somebody wanted to reach you, give us your phone number and your email address.
Yes, ma'am. So the best number to reach me at is my personal cell phone. That is where I conduct most of my business from. And that number is 979-229-7648. And my email is sam.liner@ushadvisors.com.
All right. So listen, during open enrollment, one of the things you want to consider, first of all, in the state of Maryland, if in fact you are comfortable with your health insurance plan, there's no need to do anything. That's what they tell you. However, if in fact you have to qualify every year, this is the time when you should be going on to the Healthcare Connection or getting with your healthcare consultant and requalifying for Medicaid or whatever medical insurance plan that you have. Because number one, there may be changes in qualifications, and that's income-based. There may be changes in coverage, there may be changes in cost, and there may be other options. I understand for the state of Maryland, there are like 1 million, I'm just over-exaggerating, of new companies that may be coming into our market. Tell us about, Sam, what is going on during open enrollment this year.
So really open enrollment is just a time where all your options are going to become available. Like you said, there is just a window during the year, which is open enrollment, that people are able to really go and look at what their options are. That's whenever everything is really open. That's just what open enrollment is. Because throughout your normal times, throughout the rest of the year, January through October is really going to be just a time for you to sit with what you've got unless you qualify in one of their special enrollment periods. Any sort of marketplace health insurance that you're normally going to be looking at isn't available, and at that point, your best options are either like an employer's plan or something like a private market plan. So
And-
open enrollment. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What are the qualifying factors outside of open enrollment? That's loss of health insurance, because maybe you switch jobs.
Yes, ma'am. So when you're looking at other plans, so let's say that you were starting a job in January and you left the job, and so you lose your coverage. So that would actually qualify you for a special enrollment period, and that would allow you to go look at some options from the marketplace while you're looking for another job or while you're waiting to get on another employer coverage. And so what they typically look at on the marketplace is just your income and how many is in your household. Most of the things are based off of your income, and based on your income, they can qualify you for subsidies at sometimes to sort of help you pay for that coverage while you're out looking for another job and more coverage.
And other things that will affect you outside of open enrollment is changes in residence for, we were talking about Medicare last week, John Hopkins. If you were on John Hopkins Advantage and you moved to Baltimore City, they're no longer allowing that coverage for residents in Baltimore City, except for particular hotspot areas. That's what I was told. Another one, if you become a citizen, now you are eligible for the Maryland Healthcare Connection, because now you have citizenship. And for our immigrants, and we have quite a few in this area, what are the requirements that are necessary to get health insurance? Do you know?
Well, off the top of my head, I mean, you've got to be, you do have to be a U.S. citizen, correct? That is one of the.
Or I think you have to be on a work visa.
Or a work visa, yes, like a green card type thing. Yes, that will make you eligible.
But yeah, it's a specific work visa though. You got to have a driver's license. Of course, if you have a driver's license, you've already qualified.
Exactly. Yes.
Right for that. Let me see. You can qualify for health insurance under refugee travel documentation, employment authorization, as well as a permanent resident green card or a specific type of work visa. And that's usually for people, doctors that maybe come over, or for specific skill levels. Also too, if you have adopted children, you need a specific, you need proof that you are the legal guardian of that child in order to include them on your insurance. But outside of that, in open enrollment, except for the immigration rules, all of that is off the table because you are able to qualify or apply for health insurance regardless of pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
Right, and it is still based on income and household. And that's the biggest thing that Obamacare did, was create an avenue for those who have medical issues to be able to get better insurance and to switch carriers without having to become eligible for that coverage.
Yes, that's the biggest thing about open enrollment, is it just really opens up the gates for anybody. And like you said, that is including people with like pre-existing conditions. It just gives them an option to have a spot to look for their health insurance.
Yes. And if you have questions, you can give us a call at 410-481-1010. That's 410-481-1010. Let's see. Now, it looks like the income requirements, it says 150% above the federal poverty level. So that means the poverty level for a single person is $20,385 and $334,545 for a family of 3. So people with income up to 150% above the poverty level can qualify for Medicaid. but you still have to apply through the healthcare networks and provide the income verification, correct?
Yes.
Mhm. So Sam, do you know what any the new carriers that are on the market for medical insurance this year for our area?
Ooh, that's a good question. So not any newer carriers. I'm only familiar with more of the marketplace type stuff, things like Ambetter and Blue Cross, those sorts of plans that are out there. In terms of individual carriers, I actually do not know a whole lot of specific names that are coming out.
Okay. All right. So tell us, when you're looking at a health insurance plan, what's the first thing you should consider?
So the very first thing that I always like to advise any of the people that I work with and all of my clients is that your insurance is as good as your network. So that is looking at HMO plans, EPO plans, and PPO plans. Those are typically your biggest kinds of plans. And the biggest difference, so your PPO plans stands for Preferred Provider Organizations. It's going to allow you to go see any sort of doctors that you want, whether they're in or out of network. You're still going to get some sort of benefits to go along with your service. An EPO plan is an exclusive provider organization, and it's very much like an HMO plan, where you do have to use that at an exclusive provider, is basically all that is. And an HMO plan is it's usually what you're going to find on the marketplace, and it's a plan where you have to designate yourself a primary care provider, and your primary care provider is kind of who's going to get you in touch with everybody else you need to see. You do have to make sure that you're in network with any hospitals or organizations that you're going to on an HMO plan. But after you've established your PCP, then that is who you're going to go to for if you need any sort of surgeries, if you need any sort of specialists, you're going to get referred to them from your PCP on an HMO plan. So
is the plan where you don't need a referral better than the one that requires you to have a referral from your primary care doctor?
So it is kind of per situation. Typically, a PPO plan is what I like to recommend for most people, just because it gives you that flexibility to where you can go see whatever doctor or facility that you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be a local one. You can still go see out-of-state physicians or out-of-state specialists if you need to. And so I typically do refer people to PPO plans. That is the most well-rounded kind of plan for you to be on. But in some situations, HMO plans might be better for a family.
Okay, and under the Affordable Care Act, all of the plans must provide outpatient care, including those for chronic disease management, emergency care, hospitalization, pregnancy and newborn care, mental health and substance abuse services, prescription drug coverage, rehabilitation services and devices, lab tests, preventive and wellness service, and dental and vision. So all of that is included in your policy, regardless of whether it costs you $0 or $100 or $300 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the difference between the metal levels? Like, what's a bronze level?
So I believe, I actually haven't done a whole lot of specific looking into those sort of the details, but I do believe like bronze levels are just kind of like ratings with like how much you're going to get out of your plan. So bronze level,
the higher copay.
yes, I believe that's how it works. So like the bronze plans typically do have either smaller copays or no sort of copays where you have to meet your deductible first. And the more you go up to like your silver and your gold plans, those are going to have better copays for you. And they're just going to have just smaller little incremental better benefits. I do believe it's the difference with that.
And can you explain the catastrophic level?
So catastrophic level in a plan is just for things that are like your heart attack, cancer, stroke, your life-threatening level, anything that happens health-wise, that's what a catastrophic plan would cover.
And but are the plans that are available now, do they have a cap on the catastrophic level?
So that kind of depends on the plan that you're looking at. If you want to know if a plan has a cap, you would look at your out-of-pocket max on a plan. Most plans usually have let's say like an $8,700 deductible. And then once you hit that deductible, you would then hit your level of co-insurance. And then your co-insurance usually has an out-of-pocket max set to it. And so once you've hit your out-of-pocket max with your co-insurance, you wouldn't pay anything else from your bills.
Okay, so let's talk about the deductible.
Okay.
That $8,700, that does not mean that I pay $8,700 before the insurance company pays anything.
Yes,
That
for the most part. Yes, ma'am. So it kind of depends on your plan. Like I said, there are some plans that you'll find where you have you have to meet your deductible before they help pay for, doctor's visits or for prescriptions. And that means that until you hit your deductible, they don't pay for anything like that. But on the other hand, you do have plans that have like $40 copays for things like your doctor's visits and such. And so instead of paying until you hit your deductible with a copay, you would just flat out pay your copay rate for a visit like that.
Okay, so, and those type of plans are identified based on what?
Those are typically what marketplace plans, and those they go off your zip code, how many are in your household, and your income.
Okay. All right, and so what should you look at when deciding what is the best plan for you?
So typically what I do like to look at is you always need to make sure, like I said a minute ago, the network is a big thing to look at. If you have access to a PPO network, definitely look at those options first, because those give you more flexibility than anything else. If things are kind of looking either too expensive or, it's just a little bit not the best kind of policy that you want, then the next step is kind of looking at your HMO policy, seeing if you can get some sort of subsidy, maybe depending on what your income is. And so what my process usually is I like to find out kind of what my client situations are, because there are different kinds of plans that are available. There are so you've got your marketplace plans that are guaranteed issue. Anybody with any sort of pre-existing conditions can get on them. But I like to ask about my client's health, see if they're pretty healthy, or if they've got any sort of pre-existing conditions, because if they're pretty healthy and they don't have any sort of pre-existing conditions, they could qualify for a medically underwritten plan. And all that is it's kind of like how car insurance companies reward their drivers for being good drivers, give them better rates and such. There is health insurance that exists and gives people better rates and such for being healthy. So that is also that's one of my first steps that I take. So first is network always, then look at health, see if maybe they could qualify for maybe better coverage with their health, and then always see, depending on what their income is, if maybe a subsidy would be best for them. Those are the big three things that I like to look at to make sure that they're in the right place.
Okay. And I found that even though they tell you that you don't have to do anything if you're satisfied with your current plan, that when you don't do something, and I don't know exactly why this is happening. If you don't go back in and re-qualify in the spring after open enrollment closes, they tend to kick you off your plan.
That is kind of just subject to your provider. Typically, short-term plans are some things that people do, and short-term plans do have like a limited amount of time that you're on them for. And so the short-term plans are things that you would have to reapply for. And then there's like things like work plans, which do have work open enrollment periods. You have to enroll at the right time with work. And the only reason that an insurance company is going to kick you off of your plan is if you've been putting a lot of big claims and they don't like big claims on their policies, or if you just haven't been paying.
Of course they don't.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to want to pay your 10th car accident this month, So that is one thing that could lead to being kicked off of your plan. And it's why it's always good to look for a plan, if you can, that is a long-term type of plan.
So with the open enrollment period now, what's the process? What should somebody who doesn't have health insurance, what should they do?
So The first thing that I will say, Ramona, is if you are looking for any sort of health insurance, do not. I know it's kind of the first thing that's going to come to mind, but do not go somewhere like healthcare.gov and just put your phone number in or put your email in, because whether you're on healthcare.gov or just on some random website that has offered to help you, if you put information anywhere, that information is going to get sold to telemarketers and to other people that are just trying to scam you, and you will get blown up like crazy if you put your information out on anything like that. So the first thing that I'm going to say is do not put your information out online. What I would first do is go look for anybody local and ask for like a consultation, or ask for some advice or a referral from somebody local first. That way you can get in touch with an independent consultant such as myself, or maybe with an agent who is not gonna steer you in a bad direction, who's going to give you the best advice. Try and get in touch with somebody first so they can at least point you in the right direction. If somebody that's independent like that wouldn't be able to get you something, they'd at least be able to point you in the right direction.
Right.
And so you just want to
Answer
be
your
able.
questions. I remember the first time I went on Maryland Healthcare Connection. I think I submitted my application 6 times. Just trying to navigate that system and understand what it was actually asking me. And I speak insurance jargon, okay? And some of the terminology for what they were requesting was unclear. And ultimately, I ended up finding myself getting on the telephone for like an hour and a half with the rep saying, you got to walk me through this because I'm not sure what you're asking me here. And I'm not sure what information is pertinent or necessary. And, and I'm a self-employed person. So a lot of the questions didn't really apply to me.
Yeah.
And they don't really know how to adapt for somebody who doesn't have a pay stub. But there are programs, small business health insurance programs that are out. Can you tell us somewhat about those?
So smaller business health insurance, are you talking about like getting set up with group plans or that sort of thing?
Right. So there are, before you had to have a certain number of people, but now there are, I think, a few plans that are out in the network for businesses that have 5 or less employees.
Yes, there are options for those. Personally, that is one of my biggest strengths, is being able to help smaller businesses and people that have less employees and they can't quite get the best opportunity from a group plan. That is one thing that I kind of specialize with. And yeah, because most of the time your smaller businesses are going with a group of maybe 10 to 15 people to get a group plan for their employees, and those prices are going to be a little bit higher because they don't quite have that group buying power that they need to have to get good prices for their rates.
So for our small business owners that may have 1 or 2 employees, or I like me, I have 5. One is retired, she doesn't need insurance, but I wanted to be able to offer the option of medical insurance as part of the benefits package, because we do life and we offer critical illness. But medical insurance has eluded me. This is the first time I've had this many employees. In the past, it's usually been like me and 2 other people. But I know that part of the revamping of the healthcare system, was offering an option to those small business owners.
Okay. I actually, that's newer news to me too. I wasn't sure if they had started offering smaller sizes yet with their health insurance.
Well, I know when you go on the Maryland Healthcare Connection website, there is an option there where you can say, hey, I'm a business owner and I want to insure 1 or 2 employees. I don't know from a cost standpoint what the difference is, or if it's even worth it. I haven't been in a position to be able to do that yet, but that would be something good if you could find out for us, Sam, maybe when we do this next year.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
feel
That,
like
that that's some research that would be worth looking into, being able to give another option for smaller businesses. Yes.
Yeah, because I insure quite a few that only have like maybe 2 or 3 employees at the most. And if you don't, in the past, if you haven't had at least 5 or 8 or 10, you can't get a group plan. And that's not just for, health insurance, but also life insurance. All right, so when we come back from our break, we're gonna take a station identification break. I want to talk about some of the changes you may know that are coming up in the healthcare industry, what we should anticipate and how we should adjust. Is
Okay.
that good? All right. So we're gonna take a station identification break and we'll be back in a minute. Do you hear me?
All right.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore, celebrating Radio 1's 42nd anniversary.
Our Radio 1 family, our employees, their family members, our listeners, our viewers, our extended family.
And serving the African American community for over 42 years.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
This week's show is sponsored by Home Again 2, providing safe and caring housing for seniors who are no longer able or desire to live alone. Home Again 2 provides residents the experience of living with assistance and dignity in a loving environment. This is your home, and your comfort is our first priority. We are family. Please call 410-719-8520 or email at 787nadines@gmail.com or visit our website at jlcenterprise-homeagain2.com.
It was 2 a.m. when the fire alarm woke me and my husband. Next thing I know, I was standing in my front yard watching my home go up in flames. That's when a friend of mine introduced me to the Masters Construction.
No one desires a tragedy of a house fire. But should this happen to you, we hope that you will choose the Masters Construction. Call us at 443-250-5048 or visit us at www.themasters-construction.com.
At every step, he took the time to explain what was next. Call the Masters today, 443-250-5048.
Ready to go back live?
Mm-hmm.
So you're live in 3, 2, 1, whenever you're ready.
Okay, DMV, we are back. I'm talking about health care insurance and open enrollment. We are here with our guest, Mr. Sam Liner. He is a healthcare consultant and here to help you make decisions on what type of health insurance you need and what's important to you. If you want to reach him, you can call 979-229-7648 or give us your email address again, Sam.
It is sam.liner, sam.liner at ushadvisors.com.
All right. So before the break, we were talking about changes that may be coming up in the healthcare industry. Can you enlighten us, Sam?
Yes, ma'am. So there's just a few. So your biggest things that you're going to be looking at are your plan choices, and your premiums are going to be changing a little bit. So your premiums, healthcare plans are looking to go up a little bit. I believe the number is around 13-ish%, I think is what it's looking at. So it's a somewhat sizable increase for your marketplace plans. That number might be wrong. That's off the top of my head what I want to say it was.
No, that's okay. That's around and about, I think, where the direction we're going in.
Yes.
And insurance across the board.
Yes, ma'am. Everything is kind of steadily going up right now. So the marketplace really isn't safe from that. Also, there are some kind of improved subsidies that are going to continue and be able to help out those people with lower income. I do believe that there's a little bit going up with that. And there is also potential for your open enrollment to have an extension depending on where you're at. That is kind of based off of the state, but typically open enrollment runs from beginning of November to mid-December. But depending on where you're at, it might run into, beginning of January, mid-January, just a little bit later than halfway through December.
Well, I do have some information on that. For the state of Maryland, open enrollment is still running from November the 1st to December the 15th.
Okay.
For the state of Virginia, it is November the 1st to January the 15th. So they got pretty much a month and 30 days more to get those applications in and get those things, make some changes, get some better coverage. So again, in Virginia, it's from November the 1st to January the 15th, and in Maryland, it's November the 1st to December the 15th. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, no, ma'am, that's exactly right. It just kind of does vary by state. I know that not all states are going to be only going till December 15th. Like you said, Virginia's getting it till January 15th, and that could be subject for some other states as well.
Mhm. Okay, so I understand it's being considered that they may also extend open enrollment for the state of Maryland to February.
Okay.
Mhm.
That is a possibility. Yeah, that does happen. I think that those are kind of just on the fly calls that are made sometimes by some government officials, like whether they want to extend open enrollment or not. That is just kind of up in the air sometimes.
So what if somebody doesn't want to get health insurance?
Well, I have definitely talked to a fair amount of people who don't want to get health insurance, and so the best thing for people that either don't want to get health insurance or just don't want to pay for it, you can look at cash options for when you're going to the doctor or the dentist or just anything else. There are cash pay options.
Like the HSA account, is that what it's called?
Oh, HSA accounts are they're a little bit different. An HSA account just stands for Health Savings Account, and it's basically just a savings account that you use for your healthcare. It's exactly what it says it is. You can set those up. I think that I have really only heard of those being like employee and employer funded. So like if you get a job, they'll set up an HSA account for you and help you to fund that. I think you can do it privately, do it yourself, but I've really only heard of HSA accounts really being used whenever like an employer wants to set up something for their employee, and they'll kind of just match payments in there.
I think self-employed people can do an HSA account.
Yes, they can.
Again, for my small business owners out there, it is there's still an option, and there's a tax deductible part of it, correct?
I believe there is.
Right, because the money that you take out and put in your HSA account can be tax deductible.
Yes,
as a
it can.
business expense.
It can, yes, ma'am. For self-employed, yes.
So there are but there is no penalty, no tax penalty any longer for not having health insurance. That was removed by Congress, I think about 3 years ago. And it says if you don't want to sign up for health insurance during the open enrollment, you'll have to wait an entire year if you change your mind. The exception is if you have a qualifying life event.
Yes.
And what are the qualifying life events?
So I know that one of them is just losing coverage. Like if you have an employer coverage and you lose that, you have 60 days to apply from your loss of coverage. That is one of those qualifying events. I know like getting married or a pregnancy, I believe, are qualifying events.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole list of them. Those are the two that I mainly deal with, or whenever people do have those events happen. But
death, it says death is a qualifying life event. I guess a spouse or that passes away and you were on their insurance.
Yes, I believe that's what they're talking about.
Okay, and changing jobs.
Yes.
Or like what happened here, your HMO company moves out of the area and is no longer available for where you live. Oh, okay. So some of the states that still have health insurance mandates are California, District of Columbia, that's for my DC folks, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Vermont. You may be fined at tax time if you don't have health insurance in those states. That is not the situation in Maryland. However, in Maryland, There's no reason why you should not have it. If it's income issues, you can qualify for Medicaid throughout the year, even whether in open enrollment or outside of open enrollment. If in fact you lose your job, and as so many people did during COVID, you can go immediately and qualify to get Medicaid, or you can still go to the website for the state of Maryland Social Services or Maryland Healthcare Connection and see what is what you are eligible for. Or of course, you can call a healthcare consultant that works with different kind of people, especially small business owners. Back when I first started selling insurance, I talked to so many entrepreneurs, small consultants, lawyers that work for themselves, accountants, CPAs, that unless they had a spouse that had a medical insurance plan with their employer, they did not have health insurance. That does not have to be today. It just does not. There are so many options that are available, and calling someone like Sam to have a discussion about what your needs are and your budgets is important, because before you know it, there'll be another variant of COVID and people will become hospitalized again. It could possibly not happen. It could be something else. The flu is so bad this year. People think they have strep throat or COVID and it's just the flu. I don't think the times that we live in, we can go without having medical insurance, especially post-COVID. The cost of medical care is going to be gradually increasing, and there are so many things that you cannot get without having the proper coverage. What has your experience been, Sam?
Well, I mean, you explained it pretty well. I mean, when it comes to having medical insurance, I mean, of course, nobody just wants to pay for medical insurance, especially if you're somebody that doesn't really go to the doctor's office very often. You only go once a year for your wellness visit or something like that. But the biggest thing behind health insurance and medical insurance and why we need it is for the unknown. And for, like you said, there might be another variant that comes out. You never know when you might have a heart attack. You never know when, you might get cancer. It's just, you've got to be ready for something like that, because if something like that does ever come and you're without medical insurance or health insurance, then the bills are so ridiculously high and you're not able to work and all that. It could really just totally bankrupt you and put you in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
Exactly. And the thing is that when you're looking at your financial portfolio, it is the responsible thing to have it, because you don't know when something is going to happen until it happens. My son had an autoimmune disorder. We know that it was genetic and what side of the family it came from, but we never expected when he was 14 years old, it would just rear his head and not go away and start wreaking havoc on his kidneys. The medical bills that came were astronomical. But we had coverage in place already. That was not something that we could have anticipated or even known that at 14, he would only survive another 4 years. But before then, he would go through dialysis and all kind of infusions, procedures, and hospital stays that just toppled over and over and over. If you could see it coming, then you could plan for it. But the whole thing is that you can't see it coming. You have individuals that smoke and drank their entire life, never spent a day in the hospital, sitting on the corner talking junk. And you keep thinking, wait a minute, this happened here, and that person, if you could see it coming, then you would, would be able to tell the future. But hindsight is 2020. That's why you have to plan for it. You have to be financially responsible and get the coverage that you need. And exactly. I know insurance is confusing. Okay, it's not made to be simple. It has too much language. It has too many rules. It has too many exceptions. My friend, Brother Carlos, he always says, you know what kind of coverage you have when you go in and read the exclusions. That's what he says. That's a really good rule to follow, but you don't have to navigate it on your own. Sam, give us your information again, and I want to thank you so much for being on today.
Yes, ma'am. So again, my number, you can reach me at any time. You can call or text me. It's where I run most of my business from is 979-229-7648. And my email is sam.liner@ushadvisors.com.
Thank you so much for being on with us today to talk about open enrollment and health insurance. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Just definitely make sure that if you can get covered, which like Ramona said, in the state of Maryland, there's no reason you shouldn't. Be sure to have something there. One statistic that is just kind of scary is that 75% of all bankruptcies that happen in America are from excessive medical bills. And 75% of those bankruptcies are from people that already had health insurance. So whenever you are looking at a plan, make sure you do know what you're getting into, make sure you at least have something, and you've got to plan ahead.
Absolutely. Give them your phone number again, Sam.
It's 979-229-7648.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you, Ms. Ramona. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, so it's open enrollment. Please call Sam, call me. I do not sell health insurance, but Sam does. Okay. Sam can assist you in determining what is most effective, especially our small business owners that may not have coverage, that may not know that they should have coverage. You may have all other kind of things, such as critical care or cancer insurance, as they call it, or long-term care insurance or life insurance. Medical insurance is just as important, and you need to be able to get it and apply for it. And don't wait. This is the time here right now when eligibility is not a question for as far as pre-existing conditions. And if you go and get the information now, you are able to do it with ease. And there are a lot of people out there that can help you. Mr. Sam Liner from the Liner Health Group is one individual who is available to you and who you can use. And if you need his telephone number or his email address, again, just give us a call at 443-660-7131. It is open enrollment. I used to say to my friends all the time, again, that there is no reason if you live in the state of Maryland or Virginia that you should be without health insurance. We have so many options that are available to us. And I understand that there are more insurance companies that are coming into the market that will be able to offer coverage for you. If in fact you have questions, or you're concerned about your coverage, or you live in an area where your current plan may be ending or shifting or becoming something else, please read those little notices that come in the mail from your insurance plan. Sometimes it's just saying, oh, you said you wanted to do this and we approved you. Sometimes that's all it is, but other times it's saying, hey, we've got important information for you because this coverage will no longer be available, or you can no longer use dental, or you can no longer get 2 eyeglasses a year, you can only get 1. It could be anything that's going on in your coverage, and specific to you, it may be important. The other thing is, if you have seniors in your community that need assistance with making sure they have health insurance, do your due diligence, do your Christian obligation and help them. Make sure they are taken care of. If you have young people in your community that do not have health insurance, and you would be surprised, you would think that their parents have it taken care of, or they know what to do, do your due diligence and assist. It is the thing that we do to help our neighbor. There is no one that should be without health insurance in this state or the state of Virginia or DC. It is so important, especially in the current healthcare environment. The cost of healthcare is going to increase, and the cost of insurance is going to increase. Unlike other insurances where you have to qualify and health issues, and there are COVID questions now, this is a time when none of that matters. Only thing that matters is your income and your household size. It is time for you to look at what you have, or if you don't have anything, to go get it. Medical bills pile up like a blink of an eye. You go into the hospital for one thing, and each doctor is billing you individually. The hospital is billing you for everything that you did while you were in there. The radiation staff is billing you. It's just a variety and number of things that can be quite overwhelming. And having a good health insurance plan can make this manageable. And I know people don't want to pay premiums, but I'm going to tell you, I would rather pay $200 and $300 a month, so when something happens, I don't have to worry about it. I just would, because something always happens, especially in those of my community that are over the age of 40. You know what I'm talking about. At 40, everything starts to break down. Things that didn't hurt before start to hurt. You start gaining weight because your metabolism slows down. It's a whole list of things that occur for those who are in the aging community. But you do not have to navigate this on your own. Get your health insurance, go on to Maryland Healthcare Connection, call a healthcare consultant. We've had 2 on in the last 2 weeks. Last week, we had a Medicare expert on. This week, we have just regular medical insurance expert on. Who was our guest last week? Yes. I was going to say we had 3 weeks, because we also had a neuro doctor. Oh, well, that was talking about COVID. Yes, we did have a neuro doctor from Johns Hopkins 2 weeks ago. But what was the name of the guest last week? Jacob McGoy. Yes, and he's located right here on Wrightstown Road. He can assist for those who are on Medicare, whether you are disabled and have been transferred to Medicare, or whether or not you are over 65 and are looking to navigate the Medicare situation. But if you are under 65 and just looking for regular medical insurance, there is consultants out there who can assist you and provide you with the direction that you need to choose the best plan. And it is important, unlike other states, the state of Maryland will allow you to change. If you choose a plan and it's not working out for you, they will allow you to change your mind at least one time a year. Okay, but you need to know what you change your mind to. And you need to know what is the most effective opportunity for you. And it's not really made for you to be able, honestly, to navigate it on your own. They act like, oh, you don't know what an HMO is, you don't know what a PPO is, you don't know what an EPO is. No, you don't. And it's okay. If you need help, just give us a call. We're at 443-660-7131. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, the Masters Construction. As you know, they specialize in fire and water restoration and full remodels. You can reach them at 443-250-5048, or you can email them at themasters_company@yahoo.com. Also want to give a shout out to Home Again 2 Assisted Living Facility located at 601 Alta Shot Road in Catonsville. If you have a family member that needs loving care, and you want to move them in, you can call them at 410-719-8520, or you can email Dr. Jones at 787nadines@gmail.com. That's 787NADINES@gmail.com. These are our sponsors for the month of October. If you're interested in sponsoring this show, The Insurance Guru, please give us a call at 443-660-7131. Next week's show is going to be on winterizing your garden. I love the spring open garden show, and I love the winterizing your garden show. I know you say, why is that important to insurance? Because the aesthetic appeal of your property can increase the value of it. That's number one. Number two, how you manage your garden and the areas around your house determine water flow and whether or not water pools up against the house and can cause long-term or even short-term water damage. That is very important, and we talk about it all the time. But next week, we're going to reach with Rich from, what's the name of Rich's company? You're going to find out right quick? Yeah, we're going to find out right quick. We're going to meet with our friend Rich that does landscaping and gardening development, and talk about what we need to do to winterize our garden, keep our property safe as the cold weather comes upon us. And we'll talk to him again in the spring, talking about how we open up our garden and spread it out so that, again, it's all about protecting the landscape and the water flow away from the property, and keeping vegetation that can become overgrown and caught up in our electrical systems, our plumbing systems, our foundation. What we need to do to manage all of that and keep everything well maintained so that we don't have claims on our homes. So I'm really excited about that show. In December, we're going to continue with our coverage on health insurance. We're going to talk about long-term care insurance. And if you, November, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get ahead of myself. November, we're going to talk about long-term care insurance. If you have questions about it, whether or not you should get it, what the state of Maryland, because some states will offer you like a matching sort of thing. If you have it, they'll allow you to deduct that from whether or not you qualify for Medicaid waiver. We're going to talk about long-term care. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about critical illness. And we're going to keep moving on our health insurance products, why it's important. We're going to talk about workers' comp and disability coverage after that in the month of November. And then we're going to take a week off for Thanksgiving because it's family and holiday time. Absolutely. And in December, we're going to talk about the gifts that your insurance companies are trying to give you this year. Added value perks. That's our December shows, added value perks, as we talk about those added coverages that your insurance companies are now trying to offer on auto, home, commercial, life insurance, those added value coverages, because the cost of things are going up. So now they're throwing some extra coverages. They honestly were really there already. They're highlighting them and saying, oh, but we're giving you this and you can have this. That's what we're going to talk about in December for a couple of weeks. And I will be off a month, the last 2 weeks in December, the first 2 weeks of January, as I usually go on vacation, and we'll be back then. But I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank my audience for calling in with their questions and their ideas. Thank you. And their ideas for shows. And Rich, who is going to do our show next week on winterizing your garden, is Rich from Prairie View Landscaping. We're going to talk to him next week on what we're going to do. I love that show. Love the show on the gardening. And what we're going to do. And listen, if you have questions, if you have concerns, you can email us at rjminsuranceagency@gmail.com. It's actually the agency email, so the questions go to everyone in the office. And if it's something relevant, specific to me, you just ask for me, and I will do what I can to assist you. If in fact you need some information regarding your insurance, if in fact you have a claim that you're having problems with, we've assisted clients with those in the past, don't hesitate to call. You may not want to call into the show, and that's what I was told by a client earlier this week who's been listening and said, I don't want to call into the show, but I wanted to call and talk to you. Don't hesitate to call into the show. It makes the show interesting, and you may have a question that everyone else is thinking, but they're not brave enough to ask either. If in fact you do have questions, though, you do have concerns, you do want to talk about something that's going on with your insurance, especially life insurance. Right now, that is a big issue with life insurance and some of the changes that are going on with it. Let me assist you in any way I can. Please do not hesitate to give me a call. I'm Ramona Jones McClain. I'm your insurance guru, and we are located here at 11707 Reisterstown Road in Reisterstown, Maryland, right across from, beside the Sunoco gas station, across from Aldi's, that plaza, Cherry Valley Plaza. Thank you. I don't know the name of the plaza. Cherry Valley Plaza. And we're here to help and serve you. We're here to educate and make you smart consumers, so that when you have questions about anything, we provide you with the resources to be effective and get the best thing that's for you. Hey, I am Ramona Jones McClain, your insurance guru, and we thank you for listening. We are out.